What was Anakin's final lesson to Ahsoka? One question that's going around after episode 5 was, what did Anakin mean by the words live or die? Well, this meaning is a lot more deeper than we may think. Let's get right into it. At the start of episode 5, we finally get the reunion between Anakin and Ahsoka. And I'll just say this now, I never thought we'd ever see this moment on our screens. I mean, this is something we've thought about for years as fans. Would Anakin ever speak to Ahsoka after he was redeemed in the end? And well, we just got that, so thank you in advance, Dave Filoni. The meeting between them opens up with Anakin telling Ahsoka she lost her fight against Baylan Skoll and she needs one final lesson. Ahsoka's really confused here because she feels she has nothing left to learn. She's way older now. She's like, I don't have any other lessons to learn, I'm good. Well, Anakin tells her one is never too old to learn, Snips. And that line right there speaks so much in my opinion. I mean, you're talking about somebody who learned so much even in his final moments as Darth Vader. He fixed his wrongs for all the horrible things he did by saving his son. So if there's one person who knows that lessons could be learned regardless of age, it's Anakin. Now, Anakin tells Ahsoka her lesson is either to live or die. This confuses Ahsoka because she doesn't want to fight Anakin again. She did this years ago and she's not ready to fight him again. So what does this even mean? What does the message live or die really mean? Well, this is answered when Ahsoka goes through 3 different scenes throughout her early years in the Clone Wars. 3 battles. As the battles go on, she gets older and older. And the more battles she goes through, the more she learns. The first battle was in the Battle of Teth. This was one of Anakin and Ahsoka's first battles together, and it was actually in the 2008 Clone Wars movie. At first, Ahsoka doesn't understand why she's there or what she's even doing there. Anakin tells her that's her problem and that this is her training. They then storm the battlefield with the clones, and that brings us into the next battle, where things start to get very interesting. The Battle of Ryloth. In this one, she looks at the clones who died during their fight, and it's like it breaks her heart to even see them like this. You can tell she really puts the blame on herself for all the times she's put the clones' lives in danger. Unlike the other Jedi, Ahsoka saw these clones as people, not just troopers. I mean, even at the end of the Clone Wars, when she had to fight off the rest of the clones during Order 66, she told Rex to stun them, not to kill them, because they were almost like family to her. Now, this scene means more than we realize. As I said, she takes a lot of the blame on herself for these clones losing their lives, but it goes a step further than that. This is just one example of all the things she blames herself for. You gotta understand, she blames herself for Anakin's fall to the dark side, Sabine's training, and so much more. Anakin tells her that they always have to adjust to the times, that when Obi-Wan taught him they were keepers of the peace, but then they became soldiers of the Clone Wars. Did they want to fight? Probably not, but they had no other option. They had to adjust to the current times. What he means here is that in order to live, in order to survive, you always need to fight regardless of the circumstances. For the last years, it's like Ahsoka has nothing to live for, nothing to fight for anymore, and you can tell she's just so consumed with blame and guilt, and that's why Anakin is bringing her here. To show her that she does have something to live for, but she just needs to find that will to fight for it. Ahsoka then asks him, what if I stop fighting? And Anakin replies, then you'll die, which takes us all the way back to the lesson, live or die. The last flashback we see is the Siege of Mandalore, which takes place during the same time as Revenge of the Sith. It's why Anakin said he wasn't at this battle, because during this time he was actually fighting Count Dooku. This would then be Anakin's final attempt to teach her the lesson. He looks at her and tells her, within you will be everything I am, all the knowledge I possess. Just like the knowledge he received from his master Obi-Wan and his master before that being Qui-Gon Jinn. He tells Ahsoka she's part of this legacy, but Ahsoka refuses to accept this. She still feels all the guilt, all the blame for Anakin falling to the dark side, for really everything. Anakin then turns his back to her the same way he did to Obi-Wan on Mustafar and brings out his red lightsaber. His eyes turn Sith red, and at this very moment, he's not Anakin anymore. This is Darth Vader. He reminds her of the lesson, live or die. This telling her she needs to choose. She needs to find what it is she wants to live for and fight for that. And if she doesn't, then she dies. The two then duel and Anakin beats her out, kicking her back into the world between worlds. He then charges at her as Darth Vader and tells her you lack conviction. Anakin then reminds her that because she has not made her decision yet, she will be forced to die. After this is where everything changes. Ahsoka quickly gets up and turns everything around. She grabs Anakin's red lightsaber and brings it into her. Her eyes turn into a Sith red for a small moment, but she stops herself and looks deep onto Anakin, and then her eyes begin to fade back to normal. Ahsoka then tells Anakin that she chooses to live. At this very moment, she passed her test. Anakin's eyes go from Sith red to back to normal and tells her there's hope for you yet. Seeing Anakin being able to go from the light to the dark and even back to the light at the end speaks so much in my opinion. This was something he always struggled to do and was never able to control. Once he fell to the dark side, there was no going back until he was redeemed by Luke. Now it's like he can truly embrace both sides of the Force and be a real balance between the two of them. It's almost as if Anakin has accepted that both Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader are part of his identity, and that's just who he is. Ahsoka then returns to the world of the living and is reborn as Ahsoka the White. A new Ahsoka, somebody who is happy, cheerful, and the same Ahsoka we've seen grow up from all the way when she was just a young Padawan. All it took was her confronting her past and finally realizing that in order to live, she needs to find what she wants to fight for. She needs to have that burning desire to live and to want it. And this right here, this was the lesson. We see a brand new Ahsoka and her entire mindset changes now. All she did in the past was tell Sabine that she needed the map to find Thrawn so she could defeat him. But now she wants to fight for Ezra and Sabine. This is now her will to live, and she'll do whatever it takes to protect and to save them. The last words Ahsoka tells Hera at the end of the episode is, "I'll find them, I promise." Not that she'd find and defeat Thrawn, but that she'd find the people she cares about so much. And this right here, well, this is the lesson. And more importantly, this is Star Wars. Personally, I love this. I enjoyed every moment of this interaction between Anakin and Ahsoka, and to finally be able to see Ahsoka as new and reborn was just amazing. I think it really shows how much this final lesson from Anakin really changed her. I mean, so many people were complaining about Ahsoka being so dry and boring and not saying much. Well, there was a reason for that. She was filled with nothing but guilt, with nothing but blame on herself for everything. Ever since she walked away from the Jedi Order, it's like that's all she felt. She wasn't sure what to live for the past few years, but now she does. And I think with these final 3 episodes, we'll see a brand new Ahsoka. I also think we'll see Anakin again, considering how he kind of left Ahsoka on a cliffhanger there, saying there's hope for you yet. I feel like there's so much left for the two of them to speak about, such as Luke for example, and how Anakin became what he is now, but I'm sure we'll get to that. There's only one thing I'll say, and that's I wish that we got more of Anakin and Ahsoka together. But hey, if anything, that's a good thing, and I hope we get more chances to see that. But what are your thoughts? What would you rate this episode, and what are your hopes for the rest of the season? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you, always.